Let me start by asking you something very simple. And I want you to really think about this before you answer. What if the government was about to quietly close a door on money you already earned? Money meant to help you live, money meant to help you stay stable, money meant to help you afford groceries, prescriptions, rent, utilities, and the basic necessities that don't get any cheaper. And no one ever clearly told you that door was about to shut? Because that is exactly what is happening right now. And as we sit here together in January 2026, there is a deadline coming up on January 31st that could silently cost you as much as $2,400 ZAR if you don't act in time. Not hypothetical money, not potential money, not something you might get someday if a bill passes. Real dollars, money you already earned, money that was meant to be in your account. And the hardest part of all is this. Most people won't even realize what happened until it's already too late. They'll wake up in February, check their bank account, see their regular deposit, and assume everything is fine. They'll never know that something slipped through the cracks. They'll never know that money disappeared quietly in the background. They'll never know what they lost. So today, I want to slow everything down. I want to remove the confusion. I want to cut through the noise, the headlines, and the half explanations. And I want to explain what's actually happening in plain, simple English. Because this is one of those situations where understanding the details truly does make the difference between keeping your money and losing it. I also need to be very clear with you right from the beginning. The Social Security Administration does not chase people down to make sure they receive every dollar they're entitled to. They don't call you. They don't knock on your door. They don't send a second or third reminder saying, please don't miss this. They don't warn you that a deadline could cost you thousands. They send a notice, usually just one. And then the responsibility shifts entirely onto you. And if that notice is missed or misunderstood or set aside with the intention of dealing with it later, the money doesn't pause. It doesn't wait. It disappears. Now, let me explain why January 31st matters so much, because this isn't just another date on the calendar, and it isn't something that can simply be fixed later. Social Security operates on very strict administrative windows. These windows determine when corrections, adjustments, recalculations, and eligibility reviews can be applied to a prior benefit year. At the end of January, Social Security finalizes those records. Once that window closes, certain actions can no longer be applied retroactively. That means if there was an error in your benefit amount, if you were eligible for a higher payment, if you qualified for a supplement or reduction, if a recalculation should have happened, or if paperwork wasn't completed on time, Social Security may correct things going forward, but they will not go back and pay you for what you already missed. And this is exactly where thousands of dollars are being lost every single year. Now let's talk about this $20,400 number. Because I want you to understand where it comes from. This is not one single payment. This is not a new bonus. This is not a special stimulus. And it's not speculation. This amount represents money people lose when multiple small issues go uncorrected over time. Things like cost of living adjustments being applied to the wrong base amount, retroactive payments that were never requested, supplemental programs that quietly expire because recertification wasn't completed, Medicare savings that stop without warning, spousal or survivor benefits that were never fully maximized. Individually, these may not sound dramatic, but together they add up far faster than most people realize. Many seniors lose between $150 and $400 per month, simply because something wasn't updated, corrected, or verified. Over the course of a year, that becomes $2,000, $2,400, sometimes even more. And here's one of the biggest misunderstandings I see all the time. People hear about a COLA increase and assume everything is fine. They think, well, Social Security increased my payment, so that must mean it's correct. But COLA is only applied to your existing benefit amount. So if your benefit was calculated incorrectly from the beginning, your COLA increase is also incorrect. You're getting a raise on the wrong number. And that mistake doesn't just stay the same. It compounds year after year after year. Unless you actively request a correction within Social Security's allowed time frame, they will not go back and pay you for the months you were underpaid. They'll say, "We fixed it now." And that's it. The past money is gone. Another major source of lost money comes from retroactive benefits. These happen when earnings records are incomplete, when income was misreported or missing, when someone became eligible for a higher benefit earlier than recognized, or when disability and retirement benefits weren't coordinated properly. Social Security can correct these errors, but only if you ask, and only if you ask on time. Miss the deadline, and they may adjust your payment going forward while denying everything you were owed before. That's thousands of dollars quietly erased without any warning that it was even an option. Now let's talk about supplemental benefits, because this is where many people get hit the hardest without ever realizing what happened. There are multiple programs tied to Social Security and Medicare that require annual verification. Programs like Medicare Premium Assistance, prescription drug extra help, state-level supplemental payments, income-based reductions and credits. These programs don't always send loud warnings when something is wrong. If paperwork isn't returned, if income isn't verified, if eligibility isn't confirmed, you're removed. Not paused, not delayed, not temporarily stopped, removed for the entire year. And reapplying later does not restore what you lost. That's why this January 31st deadline matters so much. Now, I want to talk about who needs to be especially careful right now, because not everyone is affected in exactly the same way. If you started receiving Social Security within the last 2 years, you need to pay very close attention. That's when most calculation errors occur, especially missing earnings years. If you're a widow or widower, survivor benefits are complex, and many people are entitled to more than they receive, but only if they request it. If you're married, spousal benefits are not automatic. Many people never apply for the higher amount they qualify for and don't realize that option existed. If you transitioned from disability to retirement, coordination errors are common and time sensitive. And if you've had any changes in income, health, housing, or living situation, those details matter more than most people realize. So, what should you actually do right now? First, go through every piece of mail you've received from Social Security in the last 6 months. Look carefully for words like deadline, verification, review, or response required. Second, log into your My Social Security account and check for alerts or notices. If you don't have an account, create one immediately. Third, review your benefit amount carefully. Don't assume it's correct just because it shows up on time. Fourth, confirm that any supplemental programs you rely on are still active and properly certified. And finally, if something doesn't make sense, ask for help. Call your local Social Security office, schedule an appointment, bring your documents, get clear answers. This is not about being difficult. This is not about arguing. This is not about questioning authority. This is about protecting money you earned. I don't want you waking up in February realizing something slipped through the cracks. January 31st is not a suggestion. It's a hard stop. And taking action now, even just checking, can be the difference between keeping thousands of dollars this year or losing them forever. Please don't assume everything is fine. Please don't put this off. Please don't wait until later. Check now. Your future self will thank you, and your bank account will too.